Good evening. My name is Leah Claff, and let's talk about the news. So, recently we've had a problem of immigrants flooding into Europe from Syria. This will have a huge impact on each and every one of us living here in Europe. Gazeta Wyborcza stressed in a commentary that the wave of refugees could increase the amount of violence and terrorism. According to Dziennika Gazeta Prawna, in January 2015, more than 681,000 immigrants entered into Europe. Another issue that concerns all of us living in Europe was the signing of an agreement at the climate summit in Paris. Almost 200 countries signed the first in history agreement to stop global warming. Although the media does have divided opinions. For example, the Financial Times thinks that it will be an optimistic change and that it will be something good for our environment. On the other hand, the Wall Street Journal thinks that it will be that it won't have any impact whatsoever, and it won't have any impact. One way in fighting the changing climate is to protect the forest resources that we have. Especially for us young people, it is very important because this is our future. Is the Białowieża forest in danger? Well, that is a very important question because it is the very first and only forest that has been preserved since the ancient times in Europe. There was a huge protest that was aired live on TVN24, where the demonstrators were dressed up as Ents, who are the famous tree defenders in the Lord of the Rings by Tolkien, quoting one of them, "As the Ents in the Lord of the Rings went to Saruman, the murderer of forest, we go to the Prime Minister to defend green life." Moving on to local issues. Why do we help others? Well, Joanna Gutral, a psychologist from the Warsaw School of Psychology, when asked in an interview for the Polish press agency and the public radio, said that by helping others, we help ourselves with our own self-esteem. Regardless of the motives, it doesn't change the fact that on January 10th, we did raise a record amount of money. By we, I mean the Great Orchestra of Holiday Help. And the daily paper Gazeta Wyborcza notes that collected money will be used to equip over 320 pediatric wards and give elderly treatment. Now something not only for the theater lovers like me, but for everyone, because who hasn't heard of William Shakespeare? So basically there was on January 7th, the daily Rzeczpospolita set out an article that was called Shakespeare Alive, that was written by David Cameron, the Prime Minister of Britain. And he wrote about the fact that this year marks the 400th anniversary of William Shakespeare's death. It is celebrated all over the world, especially also in Poland, and it is something that was in the Theater Daily interviewed Professor Jerzy Limon, director of Gdańsk Shakespearean Theater, where he said that we also plan to create a crying wall in the theater where mourners will mourn the dead poet. We are full of crazy ideas, assured us the director. And finally, an event that has stirred all the Polish sports fans. I am also a sport fan. So on January 19th, the Polish handball team won a game with France. It was 31-25, and it was a very victorious moment for Poland because it was the first victory with France in 22 years. And quoting, a great team was born. The European Championship podium is getting closer, the next day wrote the Sports Review. And Wirtualna Polska interviews the Polish winger Przemysław Krajewski. Our hopes are high now, he said. We all have our fingers crossed. Well, we all had our fingers crossed until we lost the last two games. So that is all. Thank you very much.